What if the only thing standing between you and the life you were meant to live is the limit you believe you have? Make sure if you could break through it, not just to succeed, but to build a legacy that echoes long after you're gone. Today, we're not here to talk about playing it safe. We're here to tear down the walls, set a fire inside you, and show you how to break limits and build a legacy so powerful it changes generations. Step 1. Recognize and shatter your invisible walls. Every one of us is living inside a structure we built over time, a structure made of invisible walls. These walls aren't built from bricks or stone. They're built from beliefs, experiences, fears, doubts, and the stories we tell ourselves about what's possible. We create these walls every time we say, I'm not good at that, or I could never be like them, or people like me don't succeed. And because these walls are invisible, most people don't even realize they're trapped inside them. Invisible walls are tricky. They don't announce themselves. They feel normal, comfortable even. They disguise themselves as common sense, as being realistic, as playing it safe. You stop chasing dreams because you believe they're too big for you. You settle into routines not because you love them, but because stepping out feels terrifying. Little by little, you stop testing your strength. You stop reaching. You stop becoming, all while convincing yourself that this is just how life is supposed to be. But the truth is, these walls were never real. They were constructed in moments of pain, rejection, failure, embarrassment, fear. Maybe you were told as a kid to be realistic when you dared to dream. Maybe someone laughed at you when you tried something new. Maybe you tried once, failed, and decided that meant you were never meant for it. Each moment added a brick to the wall until eventually it felt safer to stay inside than to push against it. Recognizing these walls is the first act of rebellion. It demands brutal honesty. You have to look at the areas of your life where you feel stuck and ask yourself, what belief is keeping me here? What story am I still buying into? You have to call out the voice that says you're too old, too young, too inexperienced, too broken, too late. You have to see the wall for what it is, not a fact, but a feeling. And seeing it is just the beginning. Because once you recognize the wall, you have a choice. Either stay trapped behind it or smash through it with everything you've got. Breaking invisible walls isn't elegant or pretty. It's raw, it's messy, it's uncomfortable. You're going to feel resistance because the mind loves familiarity, even if that familiarity is slowly suffocating your potential. You'll battle fear, you'll battle self-doubt, you'll battle old habits pulling you back toward the known. But if you want to experience the life that's waiting for you, the life beyond the wall, you have to be willing to take the first swing even when you're trembling. It's in the swinging, the fighting, the relentless refusal to accept limits that you begin to reclaim yourself. It's when you start realizing that the real prison was never outside of you, it was inside your own mind. Step 2, turn fear into fuel. Fear is one of the most powerful forces a human being can experience. It can stop you dead in your tracks, paralyze your decision-making, shrink your dreams down to a manageable size, and convince you to settle for a life far smaller than the one you are capable of living. Most people have been trained, consciously or unconsciously, to see fear as a red light, a signal to stop, to retreat, to seek comfort and safety. And fear is never meant to be the enemy. Fear was designed to serve a very different purpose, to alert you, to wake you up, to sharpen your focus for what's ahead. The problem is that somewhere along the way, fear got mislabeled. It started being associated with danger when most of the time it was really pointing to growth. Fear shows up when you are standing at the edge of expansion. when you are about to step into something unknown, when you are daring to stretch beyond what you've previously believed possible. It is not a sign you are weak. It is proof you are alive and moving towards something that matters. Turning fear into fuel begins with changing your relationship to it. Instead of recoiling from fear, you learn to lean into it. You treat it like a trusted signal, not a stop sign. When fear whispers that you're not ready, you listen carefully, and then you prepare harder. When it tells you that you might fail, you double your commitment to learning and resilience. You don't run from the fear. You run toward it with a spirit of curiosity and determination. You start asking different questions. Instead of, how do I get rid of this fear? You ask, what is this fear trying to teach me? What new skill, what new strength, what new belief system is on the other side of this feeling? Because the truth is, every time you feel fear, it means you are brushing up against a boundary that has been unconsciously set in your mind. It's a marker of where your current self ends and your greater self is waiting to begin. Energy is energy, whether it's fear, excitement, nervousness, or anticipation. It all runs through the same circuits in the body. The only difference is the meaning you attach to it. You can decide to reframe fear as a surge of readiness, as a chemical boost preparing you to perform at your highest level. You can choose to take that adrenaline, that quickened pulse, that heightened awareness, and channel it directly into action instead of letting it trap you in hesitation. The greatest breakthroughs are born on the other side of fear. Every person you admire, every legacy that inspires you, every story of transformation you've ever heard, all of them were shaped by someone who felt fear and chose to move anyway. They didn't wait for the fear to disappear. They didn't sit around hoping for confidence to magically arrive. They moved scared. They acted while their hands were shaking. They spoke while their voices trembled. They kept pushing forward, converting every ounce of fear into drive, intensity, and unstoppable momentum. Fear, when left unchallenged, grows bigger. But fear, when faced head-on and used as fuel, becomes a catalyst that can propel you beyond what you thought was possible. It becomes a sacred signpost, pointing you directly toward the place where your next evolution is waiting. When you choose to turn fear into fuel, you no longer live a life of avoidance. You live a life of power, intention, and transformation, fueled not by the absence of fear, but by the math. Step 3. Decide who you must become. Every breakthrough, every transformation, every legacy worth building starts with a decision about identity. It's not about asking, what do I need to do? It's about asking, who do I need to become? Most people spend their entire lives focused only on actions, chasing goals with the same habits, the same mindset, the same emotional patterns that have kept them stuck. But actions without identity alignment are temporary. They're surface level. True, lasting change happens when you deliberately, consciously decide to evolve who you are at the core. You are not a fixed being. You are not trapped by your past, your mistakes, your upbringing, or your circumstances. Identity is fluid. It is shaped moment by moment by the choices you make and the standards you hold yourself to. But if you don't decide who you must become, life will decide for you. Circumstances, other people's opinions, failures, disappointments, they will shape an identity of survival instead of one of greatness. Deciding who you must become means setting a new unshakable standard for yourself. It means getting clear about the type of person who can create the future you say you want. You want to build a legacy? You must become the kind of person who lives with discipline when it's hard, who acts with courage when it's uncomfortable, who serves when it would be easier to stay selfish. You have to embody the values, the focus, the resilience, and the generosity that your vision demands. It requires brutal honesty. You must be willing to look at your current self without ego or excuse and identify the gaps. Where are you playing small? Where are you inconsistent? Where are you tolerating weakness under the disguise of being realistic or taking it easy? Transformation starts when you stop lying to yourself about where you are and start imagining vividly and powerfully who you are capable of becoming. And this isn't about faking it, it's about creating it. It's about declaring right now, I am the kind of person who follows through no matter what. I am the kind of person who leads even when it's scary. I am the kind of person who serves without needing recognition. Every action you take after that is not just about achieving something external, it's about reinforcing that new identity internally. The truth is, goals will stretch you, but identity will sustain you. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your habits and your standards. And your habits and standards are built by who you believe you are. If you believe you are capable, resourceful, and resilient, you will find a way through obstacles. If you believe you are a victim of your circumstances, you will find an excuse every time you meet resistance. Deciding who you must become is an everyday decision. It's not a one-time choice. It's a commitment you renew constantly. It shows up in the way you talk to yourself when no one's listening, in the decisions you make when nobody's watching, in the moments when it would be so easy to slip back into comfort, but you choose to stay in the fire and keep forging yourself into something greater. Identity is built through action, but it is anchored through vision. You have to hold a vision so powerful that it pulls you forward, even when the weight of doubt and fear tries to drag you back. When you consciously choose your future identity, you start aligning your energy, your thoughts, your habits, and your actions with the person you are destined to become. You stop reacting to life and start shaping it. You stop waiting for permission and start writing your own story. You stop measuring yourself against who you've been and start measuring yourself against who you are becoming. Every day, every choice, every challenge becomes an opportunity to step closer to the legacy you are building through the person you are intentionally choosing to become. Step 4, master the power of consistent action. Success, transformation, legacy, none of it is built in a moment of inspiration. It's built through the gritty, unglamorous, often invisible power of consistent action. While the world celebrates breakthroughs, awards, and overnight success stories, what they often miss is the foundation that made those victories possible. The relentless commitment to showing up again and again, even when no one is watching, even when the rewards are not immediate, even when motivation is nowhere to be found. Mastering consistent action starts with understanding that it is not about intensity, it's about intentionality. Anybody can push hard for a day, a week, maybe even a month, but few are willing to put in the reps day after day, especially when the emotional high wears off and the real work begins. It's easy to get fired up when you're fresh, when the dream is new and exciting. It's infinitely harder to keep pushing when excitement fades into monotony, when setbacks hit, when progress feels agonizingly slow. Yet this is where greatness is forged, not in the easy moments, but in the difficult ones where you decide to keep moving anyway. Consistency requires a different kind of mindset. It's not driven by feelings, it's driven by commitment. It's not about being perfect, it's about being persistent. There will be days you don't feel like getting up early, making the call, going to the gym, putting in the extra hours, pushing the extra inch. Those days matter more than the ones when you're feeling unstoppable. Because every time you act when it's hard, you reinforce a critical message to yourself. I am the kind of person who keeps my promises. I am the kind of person who follows through. Over time, this identity becomes a force of nature inside you. The real secret to mastering consistent action is to lower the barrier to entry while raising the standard of excellence. You don't need to do massive things every single day. You need to do the small, essential things without fail. You need to make the call, write the page, lift the weight, have the conversation, execute the plan, even when it's boring, even when it's repetitive, even when it feels like it's not working yet. It's about setting up daily non-negotiables that move you closer to your vision, no matter how small they seem in the moment. Momentum is not a gift. It's something you create by compounding consistent actions over time. Every step builds on the last. Every positive choice reinforces the habit of execution. Every fulfilled commitment makes it easier to fulfill the next one. At first, the results seem invisible. You won't always feel immediate gratification. In fact, there will be stretches where it feels like nothing is happening. But under the surface, the compound effect is at work. Like planting seeds in a field, the first signs of growth are always hidden underground. You have to trust the process long before you see the harvest. Mastering consistent action also means mastering the art of restarting. It means when you slip, because you will slip, you don't use it as a reason to spiral backward. You reset, recommit, and step right back into your routines. Consistency isn't about never falling. It's about how quickly you rise after every fall. It's about making sure that a bad day doesn't turn into a bad week, a bad month, or a bad year. Real consistency isn't rigid, it's resilient. It's about having the flexibility to adapt without abandoning your mission. It's about building systems that support you when your willpower fades. It's about creating an environment where action is the default, not the exception. Whether it's setting up your workspace for focus, designing your morning routine for momentum, or surrounding yourself with people who challenge and elevate you, every choice you make to support consistency reinforces your power. The gap between where you are and where you want to be is not closed by bursts of effort. It's closed by stacking days, weeks, months, years of aligned action. When you master the power of consistent action, you stop chasing motivation and start creating unstoppable momentum. You stop living at the mercy of your moods and start living in accordance with your mission. You realize that every small daily victory is a brick laid in the construction of a life and the legacy you are building. Step $5, serve beyond yourself. There comes a point in every person's journey where personal success stops being enough. Achievement, status, wealth, they can drive you for a while, but eventually they lose their shine. The deepest fulfillment, the kind that wakes you up with energy and puts you to sleep with peace, doesn't come from what you do for yourself. It comes from what you do beyond yourself. It comes from contribution, from service, from knowing that your life makes someone else's better. Serving beyond yourself means shifting your focus from what you can accumulate to what you can amplify in others. It's the understanding that real greatness is not measured by how high you climb, but by how many others you lift along the way. It's recognizing that the gift you've been given, your talents, your experiences, your knowledge, your resources, are not just for you. They were entrusted to you so that you could use them to make a difference in the world around you. This kind of service isn't passive. It's not about random acts of kindness when it's convenient. It's a way of living. It's intentional. It's strategic. It's built into the fabric of how you approach every opportunity, every relationship, every challenge. It asks, how can I add value here? How can I leave this person, this place, this situation better than I found it? It's about using every encounter as an opportunity to uplift, inspire, empower, and build. Serving beyond yourself also requires a powerful kind of courage. It's easy to serve when it's simple, when it's applauded, when it comes with recognition. But true service often demands that you give when no one is looking, when no one is clapping, when no one even knows the sacrifice you're making. It asks you to show up even when it's inconvenient, to stay committed even when it costs you something, to give your best even when there's no immediate reward. There's a paradox at the heart of serving beyond yourself. The more you give, the more you grow. When you pour into others, you don't deplete yourself, you expand yourself. Contribution stretches your heart, sharpens your skills, strengthens your spirit. It forces you to rise above petty fears and selfish desires. It demands a bigger version of you, one that thinks longer term, one that understands that true legacy is measured not by what you leave behind, but by what you leave inside of people. Serving beyond yourself doesn't mean you abandon your own dreams. It means you elevate your dreams by anchoring them to a greater purpose. It means you build businesses not just for profit, but for impact. You pursue excellence not just for personal glory, but to inspire excellence in others. You chase mastery not just to prove something, but to be a living example of what's possible for those coming behind you. It requires a shift in identity. You stop seeing yourself as just an individual trying to succeed and start seeing yourself as part of something larger, a contributor to a greater tapestry of humanity. Your actions ripple outward, creating waves you may never even see. A word of encouragement that helps someone through their darkest hour. A lesson you teach that sparks a revolution in someone's mind. A life you touch that goes on to touch thousands more. You realize that you're not a small, isolated being. You're a conduit through which greatness flows into the world. Serving beyond yourself demands vision. You must be able to look beyond the immediate, beyond the transactional, beyond the self-serving. You must train your eyes to see potential where others see problems, to see opportunity where others see obstacles, to see value where others see none. It's about cultivating a heart that beats not just for your own survival, but for the elevation of everyone around you. It calls for relentless empathy, for the willingness to listen deeper, to care harder, to fight not just for your own dreams, but for the dreams of those who haven't yet found their voice. It challenges you to step outside your comfort zone, to invest time, energy, and love into people and causes that may never pay you back in tangible ways, but will pay forward in ways that echo far beyond your lifetime. Moving beyond yourself transforms success into significance. It moves your life from being a story of accumulation to being a story of multiplication. It turns every challenge you've faced, every lesson you've learned, every mountain you've climbed into tools for lifting others higher. It forges a legacy not of things, but of people, of impact, of lives touched and changed because you chose to live bigger than your own ambition. Step 6, live. Urgently build eternally. There is a fierce kind of energy that comes alive the moment you realize time is not a guarantee. Every second you are breathing, every opportunity you are given, every connection you're allowed to make, it's all finite. There's no promise of tomorrow, no certainty of next year, no guarantee that you'll get another shot at this. Living urgently means refusing to sleepwalk through your life, and in youth. It means waking up every day with a fire in your gut, with a deep awareness that today matters, that this moment counts, that your actions right now are laying the foundation for everything that will follow. Urgency isn't about panic, it's about presence. It's about moving with intention, acting with decisiveness, refusing to waste your energy on things that don't align with your mission. It's about cutting through the noise, the distractions, the endless excuses that cause people to drift aimlessly year after year. Living urgently means asking yourself, if today was the only day I had to make a mark, would I be proud of what I'm doing? It's about collapsing the distance between your dreams and your actions so that the gap between who you are and who you're becoming shrinks with every decision you make. This urgency alone is not enough. It has to be matched with a vision that stretches beyond the immediate. It has to be tied to something eternal. Building eternally means that what you create is designed to outlast you. It means you are not just chasing momentary wins or quick validations. You are constructing something with depth, with meaning, with a soul. You are planting seeds that will continue to grow long after you're gone, shaping lives, shaping futures, shaping the world in ways you may never fully witness. Building eternally demands a different level of thinking. It requires that you measure success not just by what you can achieve in your lifetime, but by what you can set into motion for generations to come. It's about asking yourself, what will still stand after I'm no longer standing? What values will still echo after my voice is silent? What impact will continue rippling outward because of the way I lived, the way I loved? When you live urgently and build eternally, you are driven by a dual engine, the fire of now and the vision of forever. Every meeting you walk into, every project you start, every relationship you invest in, you approach it with the urgency of someone who knows time is precious and the craftsmanship of someone who knows legacy is priceless. You move fast, but you don't move recklessly. You act decisively, but you do so with wisdom. You take bold risks, but always anchored to your values and your greater purpose. Living this way demands sacrifice. It demands you say no to the trivial so you can say yes to the timeless. It demands you outgrow the need for immediate gratification in favor of long-term contribution. It demands you build your life not just for applause or attention, but for endurance. You're not looking for flash-in-the-pan moments that dazzle for a second, then disappear. If you're building monuments of meaning, invisible structures of influence, legacies etched, not just in history books, but in the hearts of people you'll never even meet. This path calls you to live awake, to feel the weight and the wonder of your days, to recognize that every conversation, every effort, every decision is a building block in something much bigger than your own comfort or convenience. It calls you to be fully alive in the shortness of your time while creating work, relationships, and contributions that reach beyond the limits of your years. You were not born to play small. You were not created to live behind invisible walls, to be ruled by fear, to drift through life hoping something will change. You were made to break limits, to decide who you must become, to master the art of relentless action, to serve a mission bigger than yourself, and to live with an urgency that honors the time you've been given while building a legacy that outlives you. Right now, not tomorrow, not someday, but right now, the future is being written by the choices you make. Will you stay confined by comfort, or will you rise, push, and build something eternal with your life? The world doesn't need another person hiding their greatness. It needs you, fully alive, fully committed, fully unstoppable. This is your time. Break the limits, build the legacy, let the world feel your impact.